Hello, 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 everyone. Hello. Let's go ahead and get into this. Let's get into this. Okay, I think I'm ready. Okay, let me kill some music. Welcome, 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 everyone. Facebook over here. YouTube over here. Hold on, let me see here. Give me 1 second. Hi. How you doing, Sebastian? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. So we're here basically to talk about this full moon in Sagittarius, which will be exact about 4:45 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make your adjustments wherever your time zone is, okay? Oh, thank you so much, Stitch. I appreciate that, sweetheart. So let's get into it, okay? Welcome, 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 everyone. Definitely, if you have questions, ask. I'll try to get to them as much as I can, but we're going to go through this full moon in Sagittarius, okay? Basically, I am live right now, YouTube. Hey, cuz, how you doing, sweetheart? Hey, girl, I had to come in on time, okay? Just a little late, but on time. I got Facebook Live here and I have YouTube Live here. So we're going to get into it. I don't want to waste too much of your time, okay? But welcome, everyone. This is Malik from Malik's Mystical Magic. Okay. Those of you who are new here, if you have not, uh, this is your first time coming across the channel, this is where we kind of explore astrology, spirituality, numerology, and practical ways to work consciously with the energies unfolding around us. Okay. So today we're going to be diving into the Sagittarius full moon, which is occurring literally a few hours after midnight. Okay, so we're in it. Okay, now this is not just a full moon. All right, this is not just a full moon. This is a blue moon. Okay, and a blue moon happens to be the second full moon that occurs within a month. Okay, and that happened this month of May, making this lunation especially significant as it closes out the month that has already brought many people some major shifts, some realizations, some conversations, and some turning points. Okay. Now, I want to make sure. Thank you, Stitch. I appreciate that, sweetheart. Zuleika, is that it? Am I saying it right? Zuleika? Paris, hey, how you doing? Okay, so whoever say I suck wet farts, cuz remove them. Okay, hello, are you just ignoring me? No, Gonzalez, Alex Gonzalez, how are you, sweetie? I'm not ignoring you at all. Thank you, cuz. I appreciate that. We have zero tolerance for disrespect here at this Soul Tribe. Okay, so let me get back into it. I don't want to be distracted. I got my cuz on scene. Anyway, this particular blue moon, okay, is causing some turning points in our lives. All right. Now, it is going to be exact. Now, first and foremost, I want to say this. I'm going to go through this deep presentation. Okay. Then, once I go through that, give us a collective understanding. Then I'll tap into your rising signs. If you know your rising signs, great. You can look at this from your sun, your moon, or your rising. I will be coming from it from a predictive perspective using whole sign houses. So it's going to be from the predictive standpoint. Your particular chart is going to determine specifically where this shows up, depending on degrees. So I'll get more into that, okay? But nonetheless, this full moon is occurring at 9 degrees and 55 minutes of Sagittarius, which is placing it in the first decan of Sagittarius, okay? Each house has 3 deacons, all right? 1 to 10, 10 to 20, and 21 to 30. So this is also closely aligned with the powerful fixed star Antares. Antares, I hope I'm saying it right, often referred to as the heart of the scorpion. Now, Antares is a fixed star and it is associated with courage, conviction, visibility, truth, leadership, and major turning points that can kind of alter the direction of our lives. All right. Now, let me see here. Yeah, let me make sure I got my orange little candle over here. Let me bring it over here. Okay. So, yeah, Sagittarius color. Okay. Anyway, so not only that is adding another layer to this lunation. The first decan of Sagittarius is associated with the tarot card known as the Eight of Wands. And if you know tarot, then that card has the energy of movement, momentum, communication, travel, messages, rapid developments. I call it Cupid's arrow at times, and information that is in motion. And that may be one of the strongest themes, around this full moon here. I will call this a moon that has truth, okay? Because Sagittarius seeks truth, all right? Information that turns into action, awareness that becomes your direction, okay? So over the course of this presentation, we're going to explore how this full moon is going to connect back to that recent Taurus moon, okay? Let's see. Thank you. I appreciate that, cuz. Okay. So we are going to connect to the previous recent Taurus moon. Okay. And what the Gemini sun and Sagittarius moon were asking us to balance. The exact astrological aspects that are influencing this lunation, the significance of that fixed star that I mentioned, Antares, the numerology of the day, the Sabian symbol of the day, as well as the practical spiritual work. Okay. And finally, how this full moon may show up for each and every rising sign. So, without further ado, my goal is to not simply tell you what this full moon means. My goal is to help each and every one of you understand the energy, and how that may be showing up in real life for you. How to work with it consciously and how to use it as a tool for growth, awareness, and alignment moving forward. Okay, that's my goal. So grab your notebook, your favorite verbiage. Let's dive in to this Sagittarius Blue Moon together. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up where we left off. Last live, I think I did it. I think I did it, but it was the full moon. The new moon. So before we dive deep into the full moon, we need to take a look back at where we, started the story, where this story began. Because this full moon didn't come out of nowhere, okay? It is directly connected to the new moon in Taurus that we recently experienced. So during that new moon in Taurus, many of us were being asked to kind of slow down, stabilize. You remember? Yeah, I remember the video. Reassess our priorities and really become intentional about what we were truly trying to build moving forward. Y'all remember that? Because Taurus energy focuses on foundation. So I kept asking, is it sustainable, right? Whatever it is, wherever this Taurus energy, new moon took off in your life, was it sustainable? That was the question, right? So now that moon was asking, what do you value? What makes you feel secure? What are you willing to invest your time, energy, money, and attention into? What are you trying to create that can stand the test of time? For some people, that may have shown up through your finances, through your employment, your housing, your business plans, relationships, health goals, or long-term commitments, okay? For others, it may have been a quieter, more internal process involving your self-worth, your boundaries, priorities, and recognizing what truly matters during that new moon in Taurus. The new moon in Taurus planted a seed, okay? So, full moons illuminate what has grown from that seed. So now under this Sagittarius full moon, the conversation then shifts, okay? And that conversation then comes from, I would say, we move from Earth, Taurus, to fire. Sagittarius, okay? We move from, I would say, building is Taurus. Understanding is Sagittarius, okay? Because Sagittarius motto is, or, their motto is I search, okay? Taurus was I have. So we're moving from earth to fire. We're moving from security into truth, from building into understanding, from seeking the truth. It's about truth with Sagittarius. And this is where things kind of become interesting. Sometimes we build something because it feels comfortable. Sometimes we build because it feels familiar. But Sagittarius is asking a different question. Is it aligned? Okay. That is where the energy shifts, because Sagittarius is going to also ask, is it true? Does it support where you're trying to go? Okay. Because this full moon may be revealing whether what was planted under that new moon in Taurus is genuinely aligned with your beliefs, with your direction, with your growth, and your future. Okay. This is not really about endings. This is not about destruction. It's really about illumination, becoming more clearer, becoming more visible. Things are becoming more harder to ignore. And with this full moon occurring in the first decan of Sagittarius, which is associated with the Eight of Wands, okay, this is from the Light Seers Tarot deck, the Deity Moon Tarot deck. If you look at the Eight of Wands, you can look at the Eight of Wands. You see the bird, okay, got information, swift, got the scythe, Eight Wands, action, movement. Same thing over here, okay? So I'll switch. Eight of Wands. This is the card, okay? Lycius, two different tarot decks, okay? But still the same. Well, the visual picks up a different type of meaning, but nonetheless, Eight of Wands is the card. So when we're looking at that, I would say there is also an energy of kind of moving, entering the picture, movement that is kind of entering the picture. So the information that you've gathered, the lessons that you've learned, right? Spirit is really kind of highlighting now is the realizations that you've had in addition to the lessons you've learned, the information you've gathered. Okay, now that energy is being asked for action, because eventually there comes a point where that awareness alone is no longer enough. Eventually that truth is asking us to move, right? Okay, so that is the bridge between the new moon in Taurus that took off and this full moon in Sagittarius. What was planted now is being illuminated. What was built is now being evaluated. Okay. And what has been learned may not be asking to be lived. So let's go ahead and segue into the axis of Sagittarius. What is across from Sagittarius is Gemini. Okay. What about Taurus? Can you tell me more about Ben Hur? Okay. Well, I'll get back with you in a minute, okay? I'm actually, you caught a live, Brittany. What's up, baby? And so anyway, so we're going to talk about this axis, okay? Now that we understand where this full moon is coming from, let's talk about the axis and just kind of give you an idea of what the axis is. This ain't good. Y'all, I am bad with my paperwork and everything, but nonetheless, let's see here. Okay, so this is the full moon in Sagittarius. This is going to be Sagittarius house right here. Okay, so the axis is right across from Sagittarius. Sagittarius is right across from Gemini. Okay, Sagittarius is right across from Gemini. So they share the same axis. Capricorn shares the same axis with Cancer. Aquarius shares the same axis with Leo. Pisces shares the same axis with Virgo. Aries shares the same axis with Libra. Taurus shares the same axis with Scorpio. Okay? So now that we have that understanding, the axis is what I'm referring to when I'm speaking here. Okay? So with the axis itself, okay, anytime you have the sun in Gemini, because it's Gemini season, and you have the full moon in Sagittarius, which is opposing that. Okay, anytime we have that, awareness is created through contrast. Okay, both Gemini and Sagittarius are connected to learning, knowledge, communication, and understanding. Okay, because Gemini is going to think and ask the questions and get the information, whereas Sagittarius is going to search. And I have very prominent, heavy planets in both Gemini and Sagittarius. So I do a lot of Gemini Sagittarius-ish. Anyway, they both approach things differently though, okay? Gemini seeks information. Gemini asks those questions, gather those facts, and observe, okay? Gemini also is very curious, wants to know, right? And Gemini communicates. In addition to that, Gemini likes variety, all right? So Sagittarius, however, wants to understand, all right? Sagittarius seeks, hey, Angie, how you doing, sweetheart? Welcome. Sagittarius seeks wisdom, okay? Sagittarius seeks meaning. I'm sorry, I got this camera the wrong way. I got YouTube and Facebook going. Yeah, give me a minute. I be doing so much. I just got off the doing other stuff and had to hurry up and get this together. But nonetheless, Sagittarius energy differs because Sagittarius seeks wisdom, meaning, truth, takes the information, and then asks, what does this mean for my life? How does this apply? Okay, how does this help me grow? All right, so one of the simplest ways to understand this Gemini Sagittarius axis is that Gemini gathers the pieces while Sagittarius assembles the puzzle, okay? Gemini collects the information, Sagittarius connects the information, okay? Gemini learns, Sagittarius teaches. Gemini exposes, okay, areas where there are possibility or explores them, okay? Well, Sagittarius forms the perspective. That's why they are about belief systems, all right? And so the next thing is Sagittarius, this full moon here in Sagittarius may bring situations where many of us are being asked to move beyond simply knowing something intellectually, Gemini, and begin applying it practically, Sagittarius, okay? And this is where that tension may show up. Right? Because information alone doesn't create transformation. You have to understand it. And once you are aware, the understanding creates the transformation. All right? Action creates transformation. Wisdom creates transformation. I often think about this axis through real life examples. Okay? You can study something for years. You can read books. You can take classes, okay? Watch videos. You can research endlessly. But eventually there's going to come a moment where that knowledge must be lived. How many walking encyclopedias do we have who have not expressed that knowledge? I know so many people, okay? So if you have elders, if you have people who are very wise, sit with them. Homeless, it doesn't matter what type of life you live, okay? But thank you, baby. I appreciate that. Okay. Opposites attract. Oh, hell yeah. Opposites do attract, which is kind of bothersome, but you have to have a medium to be able to work together, okay? But seriously, let's get back into it. I want to stay connected to my tribe as well, okay? So any questions, I might catch it at a little delay, but I'm going to keep paying attention periodically. So what I'm trying to say here is where eventually, we have to be able to apply the knowledge that we have learned, okay? It must be lived. This is the bridge between the Gemini and the Sagittarius. Gemini gathers, Sagittarius applies. Gemini learns, Sagittarius experiences. Gemini asks, Sagittarius understands. So under this full moon, many people may find themselves asking, what information have I been collecting that I now need to act upon? What truth have I known for a while but not fully embraced? Okay? What lesson have I learned that is now asking to be lived? Because this full moon isn't asking, what do you know? It is asking, what have you learned deeply enough to live by? Okay? It is the awareness. And what are you going to do with the awareness? That is the key. All right? So I want to give you guys a real life example of how that Gemini Sagittarius axis played out in my life. Okay? So before we move into that actual astrology of the full moon, because it's about to get deep, I want to give you guys a real life example of how this axis kind of showed up for me. So recently, many of you know I participated in a Gula Geechee culture tour here in Savannah area, okay? And on the surface, it may have looked like I was simply taking a tour. That was my intention, all right? It came out of the blue as far as the planning, something I always wanted to do. But I had done tours in Charleston, South Carolina, Gula Geechee, but never done it from Savannah. Now, astrologically speaking, it reflected this Gemini Sagittarius energy beautifully because Sagittarius rules higher learning, wisdom, culture, history, travel, perspective, and experiences that expand our understanding of the world. Okay? Gemini rules local environments, neighborhoods, communities, communication, learning, and the exchange of information. Okay? So I was there, all right, in my local community, learning about the history, the culture, the traditions, and the experiences of the Gula Geechee people who helped shape this region. Now, that information just didn't stay information. It became understanding, it became perspective, it became something that I could carry with me moving forward. As you guys who know me know, I always find myself at a very historical, ancestral plantation, slave place. My ancestors, the ancestors, always are calling me. So I normally take my trips by way of places that are meaningful, historical, and I keep track of them. So soon I'll be coming out with some type of vlogging, so to speak, of all of the beautiful, meaningful, spiritual places that I have visited and just not have put it all together. Nonetheless, getting back to this, okay? So what happened was that fell. Okay, so what happened was it became something, that I could take with me, all right? And that's exactly what this full moon is asking us to do. Not simply gather information, but observe, okay? Uh, Observe the information, gather information, but you're going to have to do something, okay? You got to allow what you have learned to expand your perspective and deepen your understanding. And for me, what started as a local experience became a much larger lesson about history, ancestry, culture, community, and connection. And that's the Gemini Sagittarius axis in action. Okay? And the reason why is she found out we were locals. She said she would continue to, we can't get rid of her. I'm looking like, oh my gosh. So I ran into someone who, in my community, I am so happy to learn from and sit at her feet. Okay, so I am looking forward to bringing more content as it relates to the Gula Geechee and the community and the history on the backs that Savannah was built on. Now, getting back to this, okay, this is, I would say, information that became wisdom, knowledge that became a lived experience, okay, and ultimately understanding that it's going to create a new direction for me forward. Now, let's get into the astrology of this full moon, okay? Now that we understand the story between, the Gemini and the Sagittarius, let's look at the actual astrological mechanics behind the full moon. Because the full moon is occurring at 9 degrees, 55 minutes in Sagittarius, directly opposing the sun at 9 degrees, 55 minutes. Okay, so let me show y'all what they look like. Yes, I am I ain't got my stuff together all the way yet, but nonetheless, y'all pay attention and look closely. If you have charts, I can help you clearly, but for now, we're going to have to make do with what we have, okay? So the sun is here in Gemini, all right? And the sun is opposite the moon in Sagittarius. They both are at the exact degree. 9 degrees, 55 minutes, 9 degrees, 55 minutes, okay? So with that opposition, something becomes visible, right? Something hidden becomes illuminated. Something that we've been avoiding becomes harder to ignore, all right? Something we perhaps probably have been questioning becomes clearer. Now, I read all day astrology, tarot, numerology, and I could tell you a lot of clarity is needed. Okay. And so a lot of clarity is coming as well. All right. So the Gemini sun is the focus point right now. We're in Gemini season, and the sun in Gemini is asking us to gather information. All right. Gather information, remain curious, communicate, learn, and stay open to multiple possibilities. Okay. The Sagittarius moon opposing the sun is asking us to take that information that we have gathered from Gemini focus, right? And determine what is true, what is meaningful, what is aligned, and what is worthy for you to carry it forward. And this is where many people find themselves moving from questioning into understanding, okay? Now, they not only will be moving from questioning to understanding, but I would say moving from information into wisdom, moving from uncertainty into clarity. There is a lot of uncertainty in the air right now, okay? Mercury is in Gemini, Uranus is in Gemini. Let me see here. Gemini is working a number on us mentally. Uranus is in Gemini, and the sun is in Gemini. Okay, where's Mercury? Mercury is in Gemini, okay? So we have a lot of mental stimulation going on, and yeah, we need clarity. So this full moon is just one part of the story, okay? Let's look at the additional aspects that are influencing this lunation. So I don't have the asteroids, fixed stars embedded in this natal chart, so I'm not gonna really you can't see it, but what is popping up next to the moon here, the moon in Sagittarius, is the fixed star called Antares. You can't see it because I don't have the fixed stars activated in the chart, but Antares, okay, the moon is conjunct Antares. Now, Antares is one of the most significant influences surrounding this full moon. It's in a conjunction, okay, with this fixed star. Now, or the moon. And so I want to discuss Antares in a little greater detail shortly, but for now, understand that Antares amplifies themes surrounding truth, courage, conviction, visibility, intensity, and decisive action. So this is one of the reasons that this full moon may feel louder, more noticeable, and harder to ignore than usual, all right? In addition to moon conjunct Antares, fixed star, we have the moon trine Saturn in Aries. So I have my orange line, which is going to help me highlight that, okay? So let's see here. So the moon is trine, Aries, okay. So the moon is trine Saturn, okay? This is Saturn, this is Neptune. So the moon is trine Saturn in Aries, okay? The moon is trining the orange line, Saturn, and in Aries, okay? So anyway, that's how I do it, y'all. It might be ghetto fabulous, but it is what it is. The information is real, okay? So with the moon trining, and the trine is a harmonious aspect, but with the moon trining Saturn in Aries, Saturn provides structure, discipline, accountability, and maturity. So this is an extremely helpful aspect because it kind of helps stabilize the intensity of this full moon. So instead of reacting emotionally, because this is a full moon and you guys know when moons get full, emotions get real heavy, okay? So instead of reacting Emotionally, Saturn is asking you here, what are you going to do with what you've learned? Okay, because Saturn is the teacher, Big Daddy, right? So Saturn is going to ask you that. And then Saturn is also probably going to ask you, how are you going to apply that wisdom? What responsibility are you being asked to take? Saturn reminds us that truth becomes valuable when it is applied consistently. Okay? All right? So that is important. Then we have the moon trine Neptune. Okay? And that is the same area. The moon is trine orange line Neptune too. Okay? Neptune and Saturn is in Aries. Moon trine Neptune. Moon trine Neptune. They're both in Aries. Okay? And so with the moon trine and Neptune, Neptune adds that intuition, that imagination, spirituality, dreams, creativity, and deeper awareness. So, with this energy here, many people may experience heightened intuition, vivid dreams, synchronicities, spiritual insights, intuitive nudges, or creative inspiration, okay? Because Neptune reminds us that not all truth arrives through logic. So, something I would say the feeling is probably what you're going to get more of from this Neptune trine the moon. Okay, the moon is receptive, it's emotions, it's feelings. Okay, Neptune is a nebulous planet. Okay, so that is something that you're probably going to feel. So, this may be one of the most, I would say, important ones as well. Okay, so the moon also is going to square the south node and the north node. So this is going to be a very destined, faithful type of lunation. Okay. So I say that because the moon is orange line trining south node in Pisces. Moon is trining north node in Virgo. Okay. Moon is trining the south node in Pisces. The moon is trining the north node in Pisces, and the moon is trining the south node in Virgo. Okay. So with that energy there is literally the most important one because that's where the nodes of fate are impacted. Okay. So it's squaring the nodes. So the moon kind of forms a square to the nodes that creates tension around growth, direction, and evolution. Okay. So this can feel like a crossroads moment, a moment that a turning point moment, or a moment where something just must be adjusted in order to move forward more consciously. Now, this is not the universe punishing you. This is not fate kind of working against you. This is literally an invitation to course correct where needed. Okay, were necessary. All right, I want to grab into the background influence. We spoke about Uranus. Okay, tomato, tomato. That's how I say it. Anyway, this is the planet of Uranus in Gemini. Okay, and it is here in Gemini. Uranus is in Gemini. Okay, so with Uranus being in Gemini, that's like that background influence. All right, so it's not directly involved with the full moon itself, but Uranus remains an important background influence because Uranus represents surprises, breakthroughs, disruption, awakening, innovation, and sudden realization. So for some, this may manifest as unexpected conversations, surprising information, changes in plans, shifts in your perspective, sudden opportunities, mental breakthroughs. Uranus here often reveals what was already changing beneath the surface. Okay. Now we can't forget Mars. Mars currently is in Taurus. This is Taurus. Mars is in Taurus. There's Mars right there. Okay. Here's Taurus. Here's Mars right there. So that's some background noise too, because Mars in Taurus, Mars is about action. Okay. It continues to bring that energy towards finances, values, stability, security, possessions, our resources, and what we're actively trying to build, okay? Because Mars wants movement, Taurus wants stability. So this can create that tension between wanting that immediate result, okay, like Mars, and needing patience, like Taurus, okay? So Mars, I would say this can create that tension. Some people may feel pressure around money, purchases, work, relationships, commitments, long term plans, because Mars is here to remind us that progress is often built through consistent action rather than impulsive reactions. Okay, Mars likes impulsivity. Well, it's in Taurus, an earth sign, a grounded sign. They don't move like that. So when we step back and look at these aspects together, a larger picture begins to emerge. This full moon is not simply revealing truth, okay? It's also asking us to do something with that truth that is revealed. Saturn is asking for responsibility. Neptune is asking you for trust. The nodes of fate is asking for growth. Uranus is asking for flexibility. Be flexible now. We're dealing with modality energy, Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, Virgo, mutable signs. Okay? Be adaptable with this energy here. Because Uranus, it could shift things up. Okay? Mars is asking for action. And Sagittarius is saying, now that you know all this, what you gonna do about it? All right. Now, who is gonna be most affected by this full moon? All right. Before we move deeper into the symbolism, I want to say, let's briefly talk about who may feel this more strongly. Now, if you don't have your natal chart, you can get your natal chart. You have to have your exact time of birth. If you don't have that, just click, I don't know, the time. Just make sure you hit the city and the state, okay? Because that'll at least give you where the planets were at the moment you were born. But for your rising sign to know exactly where this is showing up in your life, your exact time of birth is needed. And if you have that, go to astro.com, get you a natal chart. If you need my help, all of my information is in the YouTube description, and Facebook know me, okay? So I would say, it's being that it's occurring at 9 minutes and 9 degrees and 55 minutes in Sagittarius. Generally speaking, people who have important natal placements near this degree may feel the effects of this lunation more directly. So this may be especially true for those who with planets or angles between approximately 7 and 13 degrees, okay, of Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, or Gemini. These signs are receiving the strongest pressure from this full moon because they're either being directly activated or being challenged by the full moon axis itself. Okay, so this may be, particularly noticeable if these degrees involve your sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, your rising, and your midheaven, your personal placements. Okay, your personal planets. Now, this is also interesting for those Aries and Leo placements, okay? Those with Aries and Leo placements near that same degree. I would say 7 to 13 degrees of Sagittarius for you, Aries and Leos. Okay, you may experience this energy more harmoniously through the support of trines, that are being formed by this full moon. However, it is important to remember that everyone experiences a full moon differently, okay? All right. So even if you don't have planets at these degrees, the area of your chart containing 9 degrees of Sagittarius is still being activated. So the themes in that house, okay, is what you probably want to pay attention to. On Facebook, I dropped the chart with the themes. Okay, I'll probably put it in a post on my wall on YouTube if you don't have the astrological wheel that gives you the meanings or the themes of each house. All right, that way you know what could be potentially happening. This full moon, boom, about to blow up in my second house. So that's dealing with my money, my self-worth, my value system, right? So something is coming to a close or a culmination or a retreat, right? So that's how you look at your stuff. Look at all the things and adjust as it resonates. So this is why I would say later in the presentation, we're going to explore how This full moon may manifest through each rising sign. But ultimately, the house being activated often tells us where the story is unfolding, okay? For some people, it may be relationships. For others, it may be family. For others, it may be career, family, travel, education, communication, health, personal growth. But the question isn't whether this full moon is affecting you. The question is, where is it showing up? All right? Now, getting back to this fixed star that I was mentioning, Antares, I want to talk about that a little deeper, real quick, surrounding this full moon, okay? Many astrologers are talking about it right now, the fixed star Antares. And I want to keep this practical and understandable because fixed stars they're an area that of astrology that I'm continuing to study myself, okay? So we talked about Algol in the new moon in Taurus, all right? Now we're talking about Antares. It is a fixed star as well. So I would say we're not going to go too deep in academic discussion tonight, but I do want to kind of explain why Antares is important in this particular lunation. So first, what is a fixed star? Unlike planets, which continuously move through the zodiacs, okay, fixed stars appear relatively fixed in the sky over long periods of time. All right. So, astrologically speaking, fixed stars become activated when planets, eclipses, new moons, full moons align closely with them. All right. And this full moon is occurring almost directly on top of Antares. And Antares is one of the four royal stars and is often referred to as the heart of the scorpion. All right. So, traditionally, Antares carries themes surrounding courage, conviction, visibility, intensity, leadership, truth, transformation, decisive action. So, this doesn't automatically mean chaos, y'all. It also doesn't mean destruction, all right? It just simply means that whatever is being illuminated by this full moon may feel more difficult to ignore. Antares tends to amplify the awareness and it's going to shine a spotlight on what needs attention. Okay, so pay attention. All right, and in its higher expression, Antares can inspire courage, honesty, integrity, leadership, spiritual growth, and aligned action. And in its lower vibration, you're going to see it. You're going to see it. We're going to be dealing with people who are impulsive, okay, in their pride, very reactive, emotional extremes, rushing into decisions, and acting before fully thinking things through. You're going to see that. And that's when you know they're utilizing that in the lower expression, the low vibration of it. All right. So this is where the support from Saturn becomes so important because Saturn helps ground this energy. And it kind of reminds us that awareness is not the same as reaction. Okay. There are consequences. Pay attention, all right? Just because something is revealed don't mean we must immediately respond. Sometimes, wisdom requires observation first, right? Sometimes, I would say one of the questions that this full moon may ask is, can you remain honest, without becoming reactive? I don't know how many times I had to hold my tongue just this week. You know what I'm saying? Because of this energy. Can you acknowledge the truth without rushing to fix everything immediately? Can you allow awareness to become wisdom before it becomes action? Because ultimately, Antares is not simply asking us to see the truth, it is asking us to decide what are we going to do with the truth. All right? So let's get into these Eight of Wands. So as far as the first decan of Sagittarius, 9 degrees here, that is associated with the tarot card of Eight of Wands, okay? That's another layer that kind of makes this full moon particularly interesting, is that it occurs in that first decan. And in traditional astrology, each zodiac sign is divided into 3 decans, with each decan carrying additional symbolism, another energetic theme to it. So the first decan of Sagittarius is associated with the tarot card of 8 of Wands, all right? Shows y'all what that is. Okay, so if there ever were a tarot card that captured the energy of this full moon, this may be it, because this is movement, momentum, communication, travel, messages, news, acceleration, developments, opportunities, and information that is in motion. Okay? Now, What makes this especially important is how beautifully it mirrors that Sagittarius Gemini axis we discussed earlier, because Gemini is going to gather the information. See that bird with that letter? Okay. Gemini is going to gather the information, right? And Sagittarius is going to determine what to do with that information. This Eight of Wands represents the movement when awareness begins creating movement. The moment when awareness begins creating movement. So you're going to get the awareness, okay? And it's going to create some movement. So this is the moment when understanding kind of begins creating some action. I will tell you, there are people taking advantage of this energy in a low vibrational way. I can't recall. I've seen so many graduation fights, so many people fighting right now, all of that impulsiveness, not thinking before they're acting, not thinking before they're speaking, and it's a lot of volatility. Please don't get caught up in that energy, okay? We already got enough going on out here. But for some people, this may manifest for you guys with this Eight of Wands as some important conversations. You may have some sudden downloads or some realizations, some travel opportunities, educational opportunities, decisions that need to be made, applications being submitted, paperwork being finalized, your plans moving forward, and you might get some unexpected news that might arrive. For others, it may simply feel like something's just have been stagnant, finally begins moving again, okay? One of the images often associated with the Eight of Wands is the arrows already in flight, okay? So the arrows have already left the bow. So when you think of the glyph of the Sagittarius, it is a man horse like image, right? And it has an arrow, right? Well, the arrow has already been sent out, right? So this is the motion in which that is coming, right? So with that said, I would say the arrow has already left that bow, okay? The momentum has already begun. And that may be one of the strongest messages surrounding this full moon, because not everything is asking to remain where it is. Some things are asking to move, evolve, progress. And the truth being revealed under this full moon may be the very thing that creates that movement. But I would say ultimately awareness is going to change nothing unless we do something with it. All right. So the Eight of Wands basically is just reminding us that once we know better, we are called to move differently. I call it, when you know better, you do better. Okay. But I'm going to just say different. All right. Now, getting into the numerology of the day. As a numerologist, I came to go out without the day. So let's break a brief breakdown of the day. May 31st, 2026 is the exact date of the full moon. When you break those down, May is 5, 31, 1 is 4, 2026 is a 10. Equate that down to a 1. 5, 4, 1 equals 10. Break that down, another 1. Okay? Did I lose anybody? Did I lose anybody? Okay, I want to make sure. All right, so let me do something. Let me pull up my numerology thing real quick, because I think I did it right. Let's see here. Give me a minute. Okay, so yeah, I was right. Okay, I'm tripping. Yeah. So one breaks down to leadership. Okay. 1 in numerology is about leadership, independence, individuality, taking the initiative, having courage, identity, self-determination, and new direction. Okay. So this is significant because it reinforces many of the themes that we've already seen throughout this full moon. that we've discussed. And the number one is not necessarily, I would say, passive energy. It's movement, it's action, it is deciding to move forward rather than remaining where you are. And at its highest expression, that number one numerology for the day, universal day one, the energy is encouraging leadership, confidence, personal responsibility. If you are a life path one, you know what I'm talking about. This is the energy in which that day is bringing. Stubbornness, okay, is a low vibration. I want to let y'all know that. But trusting yourself, healthy independence, personal responsibilities, initiating positive change is how you take advantage of the high expression of that day, right? High vibration. When you're in your low vibration of a number one, that can manifest as impulsiveness, ego driven decisions, stubbornness, impatience, forcing outcomes, and literally acting before thinking things through. So, this is where the support from Saturn again becomes important because while the number one encourages movement, Saturn is reminding us to move with wisdom. All right. Saturn is Big Daddy, the teacher. Okay. You're going to get karma. Yeah, repeat the lesson if you didn't pass the test. So, with the Eight of Wands, that is encouraging momentum. Saturn is reminding us to move with intention. Okay. While Antares, the fixed star, encourages courage, Saturn is reminding us to remain grounded. So when we take all that together, the numerology of this day is telling me that many people may feel called to step into a new chapter, make an important decision, take an initiative, or move in a new direction, okay? So the question could become for you, will you move from reaction or will you move from awareness? Because under this full moon here, movement appears to be available, but wisdom is going to determine your direction. All right. So the Sabian symbol, I did drop a picture of that in Facebook. Okay. Sabian symbol, basically, it looks like a woman just glammed all out in gold, hair long and just gold up, right? So that's the image. I didn't feel the need to print it. It's self-explanatory, okay? But I want to take us to another level of meaning, okay? Another symbolic layer that's connected to this full moon. So the Sabian symbol, there are symbolic images that are assigned to each degree of the zodiac, okay? And they provide deeper insight into the spiritual and the psychological themes that are unfolding beneath the surface, okay? So the symbol that is associated with this full moon degree is a theatrical representation. You hear me? A theatrical representation of a golden haired goddess of opportunity. All right? Just a woman with golden hair in gold, okay? And it's theatrical in her display of herself. Not raunchy, but glamorous, so to speak. So at first glance, it may seem like a strange image, like, okay. But when we break it down piece by piece, the message really just becomes clear. Let's start this phrase: theatrical representation. A theatrical performance is something being acted out, something being displayed, something being revealed for an audience to observe, right? And in many ways, life itself becomes the stage. Events unfold, conversations happen, situations arrive, and through those experiences, something important is shown to us. Okay? So, not everything is going to arrive as a direct message. Sometimes life teaches through experience. Okay? Now, sometimes I would say just leave it alone. The golden haired, okay? Throughout history, gold has often symbolized wisdom, value, reward, illumination, and something precious. Y'all know Egyptian, okay? Y'all know, all right? Now, in addition to that, gold attracts attention. Gold stands out. Gold carries weight and significance. Gold can give you money. Okay. So I would say this is telling me that whatever is being revealed under this full moon may contain something valuable for our growth, even if we don't immediately recognize it. Now this moon could play out for 2 weeks or up to 6, but usually 2 weeks. Okay. Now, I would also say, finally, the goddess of opportunity. This is where many people misunderstand the symbol because opportunity doesn't always arrive looking like an opportunity. Sometimes opportunity arrive disguised through a conversation, as a challenge, a realization, as a truth that we were not expecting to face. And that may be one of the most important messages of this full moon, because the opportunity may not be the event itself. The opportunity may be the what the event reveals. Okay? It may be the perspective that you gain. The opportunity may be the lesson that you finally understand. The opportunity may be the clarity that you receive. Okay? So it varies for different people. The opportunity may be the direction that become visible once confusion is removed. So this symbol kind of ties beautifully into that Gemini Sagittarius axis, because Gemini gathers the information, Sagittarius seeks the meaning of that information, and through this process, opportunity becomes visible. Not because it suddenly appears, but because we are finally able to recognize it. Okay? So the truth surface, conversations unfold, perspectives expand, and awareness increases. So this full moon ray revealed opportunities that were kind of already present but previously hidden beneath fear, distraction, confusion, attachment, or pure uncertainty. So this invitation of this symbol is simple: pay attention. Okay, life may be showing you something very, very important right now. So it's important for you to pay attention. And the opportunity may not be what is happening. The opportunity may be understanding why it is happening. Okay? I'm trying to get us to go deeper. Go look at the big picture. Okay? Now, how to work with this moon. For those who like to work with this moon, or work with lunations, or work with the energy, manifest. For those of us who like to do that, okay, I want to go ahead and explore that with you. We've already looked at the astrology, the symbolism, the numerology, the deeper themes that are surrounding the Sagittarius Blue Moon. So let's talk about how to work with this energy consciously and intentionally. All right. So one of the biggest mistakes people make during full moons is assuming that every full moon is about release. Okay. Not every full moon is about release. This full moon is asking for something. While release can certainly be a part of the process, this particular full moon in Sagittarius is asking for something a little bit more. It's asking for awareness, all right? And so not only is it asking for awareness, it's asking for honesty, for alignment, and perhaps more importantly, or most importantly, I would say, it is asking for us to become more conscious of what truth is trying to move us toward, okay? So remember, the Taurus new moon planted the seed. The Gemini Sagittarius Sun Gemini Moon Sagittarius axis is bringing some information and some understanding. That Eight of Wands is going to bring movement. That number one is going to bring initiative, okay? And the Sabian symbol is going to bring opportunity, okay? So then the question becomes is, how do you work with it? All right. So for those who like to work with candles, white candles for clarity, truth, purification, awareness, and spiritual guidance. Always a good candle to use if you don't have any other colors. Orange is Sagittarius energy. Okay. Orange is Sagittarius energy. And that is expansion, confidence, optimism, growth, and opportunity. Red, if you have red, that is for courage, action, motivation, leadership, and moving forward. If you have purple, that is for wisdom, intuition, spiritual development, higher learning, and deeper understanding. If you're working with the herbs, okay, some herbs that may work well with this lunation, bay leaf, okay? Bay leaf is a go-to. Clarity, success, manifestation, vision, as well as intention setting, your bay leaf. If you have cinnamon, put that on there for some momentum, for some activation, for some abundance and some movement. If you have mugwort, for intuition, dreams, psychic awareness, and spiritual insight. I will tell you what I have done with mugwort as an herb, okay? It's a green herb that you get from your herb shop or your metaphysical shop. I basically put my coal charcoal disc on here, burned it, put it in my little cast iron thing, and put mugwort on it. Okay, and I sat there and meditated. Now, deep dreams, definitely. Okay, psychic awareness and insight definitely will heighten that up if you're interested in that. Rosemary also is good for mental clarity, memory, protection, or wisdom. Okay. Now, sage, cleansing, release, or energetic clearing. Just go in your kitchen cabinet where your seasons at and get them. Okay. Anyway, oils. If you are using essential oils, some oils that may complement this energy is frankincense, because frankincense connects to spiritual, spirituality. It's your spiritual connection. It's your conduit. Okay. Prayer and higher awareness is frankincense. Clove, if you have that, that's for empowerment, courage, strength, and movement. If you have any orange essential oil, that's for joy, expansion, abundance, and opportunity. If you have lavender, that's for emotional balance, peace, and grounding. All right. So if you work with any stones, like I do, all right, you might want to work with Tiger's Eye, because Tiger's Eye is for courage, confidence, discernment, and practical action. In addition to that, lapis lazuli, which I do have on me. Where is my lapis lazuli? Here go my lapis lazuli. Lapis lazuli, this is my lapis lazuli. So lapis lazuli is for truth, communication, wisdom, and higher understanding. If you have an amethyst, purple stone, that's for intuition, spiritual awareness, inner guidance. And your carnelian, that's for motivation, action, creativity, and confidence. Okay. So an intention example. So if you're unsure where to begin, an intention may be as simple as writing down or speaking into your candle. Okay. I release what no longer aligns with my truth and move forward consciously, courageously, and in alignment with my highest path. Simple as that. Okay. You have to have intention behind it, though. So, whatever it is that you seek, speak it into existence. Speak it into your water. Water holds memory. Water is spiritual. Speak it into your water. Drink that water. Embody what your intentions are, okay? So a lot of people don't know how to really tap in, but the higher expression of this moon, I want to get into that. Honesty, wisdom, conscious action, spiritual growth, courage, expansion, healthy leadership, alignment, perspective shifts, and meaningful movement that's forward movement, okay? And this is the energy of I understand the lesson and now I'm ready to live the lesson, all right? Now, some of us may not take advantage of that higher expression. Some of us may utilize the lower expression, which is impulsiveness and exaggeration, self righteousness, pride, reacting emotionally, forcing outcomes, refusing new information, and acting without reflection, rushing major decisions. Okay, so this is the energy of I've seen the truth, but I'm reacting instead of responding. Okay, so I would say what to do during this moon is simple: journal and be honest with your journal. Don't just journal to journal, journal your honesty, okay? Pay attention to conversations, observe what is being revealed, stay open to learning, reflect before acting, trust your intuition, remain flexible if plans change, and allow truth to guide your steps. What we don't want to do is we don't want to rush major decisions, react impulsively, ignore important information, force outcomes, refuse unnecessary adjustments, stay attached to something simply because it's familiar, or make the assumption that every opportunity is going to arrive in a comfortable package. Because one of the greatest lessons of this full moon is that growth often begins the moment we become willing to see things different. All right? And once we can see clearly, movement becomes possible. All right? So let's get into these rising signs. All right? Before I get into these rising signs, I want to clear something up. Um, I want to mention something really important. These interpretations that I do, they are based on rising sign and house system I use when I teach astrology, okay? And depending on your exact birth time, your house system, where you're using Placidus, equal house system, whole house system, and your particular natal chart. This full moon may fall in a different house than the one I discuss. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why I always encourage people to look at their individual natal charts rather than relying solely on generalized forecasts. Okay, so the rising sign forecast is going to give us a strong starting point, but your personal chart is going to tell the complete story because in this degrees matter. House cusps matter. Planetary placements matter, and sometimes a full moon may activate multiple areas at once. Okay, so I could tell you this moon is coming in on the end of my second house and my third house, so I'm getting a little flavor of both themes already. It could show up that way. So I would say this: if you're listening to your rising sign and something feels slightly different, check the exact degree of your Sagittarius in your natal chart and see which house this full moon is activating for you personally. And if you're unsure how to do that, this is exactly the type of thing I help clients navigate through the personal astrology consultations, okay? Because while collective astrology tells us the weather, your natal chart is going to tell you how that weather is going to show up specifically in your life, okay? So, let's go ahead and get into it. Aries, sun, moon, rising. Let me take a little. I was wondering, can I go? Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. Okay, so Aries rising. If you are Aries, sun, moon, rising, this full moon is activating your ninth house of travel, higher education, certifications, spirituality, legal matter, legal matters, publishing, long distance connections, belief systems, and your overall life direction. While the sun in Gemini is illuminating your third house, Aries, of communication, transportation, paperwork, contracts, learning, local travel, technology, siblings, neighbors, and everyday interactions. It's a lot, I know. So, Aries risings. This full moon may bring some important developments, some realizations, some conversations, or some decisions that involve travel, education, certifications, legal matters, vehicles, transportation, paperwork, contracts, applications, or the direction that you're trying to move toward, both mentally and physically. So, for some of you, Aries, this may show up through travel plans, relocation discussions, educational opportunities, licensing or certification processes, vehicle purchases or repairs, registration issues, important documents, legal matters, teaching opportunities, or publishing or speaking engagements. Others may find themselves experiencing a major shift in perspective about where they're headed and whether their current path still aligns with what they truly believe, okay? Because this full moon is occurring in Sagittarius, Aries, there's a strong focus on growth, expansion, and wisdom and seeing the bigger picture. However, with the sun opposing from Gemini, the details are going to matter, okay? So, Aries, this is not the energy to rush through paperwork, overlook communication, ignore important information, or make assumptions without gathering the facts first. Because with Uranus moving through Gemini in the background, unexpected conversations, surprising news, travel changes, transportation issues, technology glitches, mental breakthroughs, or shifts in plans may arise quickly. Okay. So, some Aries, you may suddenly decide to travel, relocate, enroll in a class, pursue a certification, purchase a vehicle, handle licensing matters, launch a website, start teaching. You might write or publish content or just completely rethink the direction that you're heading, Aries. Now, meanwhile, Mars, that's your ruling planet. That's in um, Yeah, I be tripping. Mars and Taurus, okay? So this, I would say, while Mars continues to kind of place emphasis on finances, values, resources, stability, that means that many of these decisions may carry some financial considerations for you, Aries, okay? So this full moon may ask, are your plans aligned with your long-term vision, Aries? Are you paying attention to the details while pursuing the bigger picture? What information do you still need? And what truth are you now ready to act upon, Aries? Because that's important, okay? Now, emotionally and spiritually, this full moon can bring some powerful awareness for you surrounding personal growth, wisdom, learning, freedom, and purpose. But from a practical standpoint, I would say this energy may manifest through travel, education, vehicles, transportation, things of that sort that I've already mentioned, okay? That can kind of help move your life forward, all right? So that's what I have for you, Aries. Taurus, sun, moon, rising. This full moon is activating your eighth house of shared resources, debts, taxes, loans, credit, investment, inheritances, insurance matters, intimacy, trust, and transformation. Not only that, financial obligations that involve other people. Okay, Taurus. And then the sun in Gemini is illuminating your second house of income, earnings, possession, personal finances, spending habits, self worth, talents, and long term security. So I would say, Taurus, this full moon may bring some important developments and some realizations or some conversations or decisions that involve money, shared finances, debts, taxes, credits, loans, investments, insurance claims, inheritances, business partnerships, financial agreements, just money. Okay? Situations where resources are tied to another person. So, Taurus, for some of you, this may show up through debt repayment, tax matters, credit matters, insurance policies, settlements, inheritances, loans, mortgages, refinancing, investment decisions, business partnerships, financial support from others. So I would say others of you Taurus may find yourselves examining deeper themes surrounding trust, intimacy, vulnerability, emotional attachments, or recognizing where certain situations have become financially, emotionally, or energetically imbalanced. Now, because this full moon is incurring in Sagittarius here, Taurus, there is a strong focus on truth, expansion, and understanding the bigger picture. However, that sun opposing from Gemini, the details of your finances, obligations, agreements, and resources, they still matter here. So this is not the energy to ignore your bills, avoid difficult financial conversations, overlook contracts, or make any major financial decisions without understanding the long-term impact. Okay, Taurus? With Uranus continuing to influence your second house in the background, unexpected expenses, shifts in your income, surprising opportunities, changing financial priorities, or just sudden realizations regarding your value and resources, they may emerge during this time. So some Tauruses may suddenly decide to pay off some debt, okay? Consolidate debt, restructure your finances, create a new budget, separate your finances, combine resources, renegotiate financial agreements, review investments, launch a business partnership, or just pursue a new income stream. Okay. Now, Taurus, Mars continues moving through your first house, which is increasing motivation, confidence, determination, and the desire to take action. Okay. So while this can be highly productive, it also can create some impatience if the results don't happen as quickly as you'd like, Taurus. So this full moon may ask, are your financial choices supporting your future goals? Are your financial agreements fair and sustainable? Are you recognizing your true value, Taurus? Are you holding on to obligations that no longer serve you? And what needs to change in order for you to feel more secure? Now, emotionally and spiritually, Taurus, this full moon can bring some powerful awareness that is surrounding trust, self worth, financial empowerment, intimacy, and transformation. But from a practical standpoint, this energy may manifest through some debt, taxes, loans, credit, those things that I mentioned, okay? And you might have some important conversations regarding money, responsibility, and long term stability, all right? So that is you, Taurus. Now, let's go to Gemini. Sun, Moon, Rising. Gemini, this full moon in Saggy is activating your seventh house of relationships, partnerships, marriage, contracts, agreements, clients, business partnerships, negotiations, legal matters, and significant one on one connections. Okay. While the sun in Gemini is illuminating your first house of self, identity, independence, your personal goals, your appearance, your self expression, your vibe, and the direction you're choosing for yourself. Okay. So, Geminis, this full moon may bring some important developments, realizations, conversations, or some decisions involving, relationships, partnerships, commitments, contracts, clients, seventh house things, or the balance between your needs and the needs of others. All right. So, I would say, Gemini, for some of you, this may show up through discussions about relationships, engagements, separations, reconciliations, client agreements, contract negotiations, legal matters, collaborations, mediation, attorney consultations. I mean, I don't know the shuns. I'm not doing it on purpose, y'all. But important one on one conversations, okay? Gemini, others of you may find yourself just recognizing where certain relationships have evolved, where boundaries need strengthening, or where a partnership is just no longer aligned with who you are becoming, okay? Because Gemini, this full moon is occurring in Sagittarius, and there's a strong focus here on truth, honesty, growth, and alignment within your relationships, okay? Now, with the sun opposing your first house, there may be tension between your personal goals and the expectations of others. The sun opposing from your first house, okay? The sun is in Gemini, right? So this energy, I would say, may reveal situations where adjustments, compromise is needed. Okay. It could also bring some conversations that need to happen, or some decisions can no longer be postponed. Okay. So this is not the energy, Gemini, to avoid discussions, ignore red flags, sacrifice your needs completely, or even assume people know how you feel without communicating that clearly, Gemini. Okay. Now, with Uranus moving through your first house in the background, many Gemini risings are already experiencing some significant changes involving identity, priorities, personal freedom, lifestyle choices, self expression, or the way that you present yourself to the world. Okay, so as you evolve, Gemini, your relationships may naturally evolve as well. Now, some Geminis may suddenly decide to commit to a relationship, leave a relationship, renegotiate boundaries, sign a contract, hire professional assistance, seek legal guidance, attract new clients, launch a partnership, end a healthy dynamic, or redefine what you want from future relationships. Okay. Now, Gemini, Mars continues moving through your 12th house, which is bringing some energy toward healing, reflection, spirituality, closure, rest, subconscious patterns, okay, and situations unfolding behind the scenes. So, Gemini, this energy may expose some hidden frustrations for you, some unresolved emotions, or some uh, buried emotions, even burnout. Okay, Gemini, this could bring some situations that need healing before you can even move forward confidently. Okay, because this moon is asking, full moon is asking you, Gemini, are your relationships supporting your growth? Are your partnerships balanced and reciprocal? Are you being honest about what you need? Have you outgrown certain dynamics? Are the people around you aligned with the person that you're becoming, Gemini? All right. Emotionally and spiritually, Gemini, this full moon can bring awareness surrounding commitment, trust, boundaries, partnership dynamics, and personal growth. So, on a practical level, Gemini, this energy may manifest through relationships, marriage, contracts, legal agreements, things of that nature, and important conversations that help determine your next chapter. Okay. So, I'm going to give themes for, and when I get to the same house, I might not repeat all the themes, okay? But I just want to let y'all know what the themes are. There's so many more. Cancers, where are you? Sun, moon, rising. Let's go. This full moon in Sagittarius is activating your sixth house of work, employment, co-workers, daily routines, responsibilities, health, wellness, scheduling, service, and the systems that keep your life running. All right. Now, the sun in Gemini is illuminating your 12th house of rest, healing, spirituality, solitude, hidden matters, subconscious patterns, endings, retreat, and behind the scenes activity. All right. So, for you Cancers, this full moon may bring some important developments, realizations, conversations, or decisions involving your job, your work environment, your health, your schedule, your responsibility, your daily tasks, or the balance between what you do for others and what you need to do for yourself. All right. So some of you Cancers this may show up through job opportunities, workplace changes, management changes, co-worker situations, scheduling adjustments, increased responsibilities, hiring or staffing matters, performance reviews, okay? Burnout, workload changes. Others of you Cancers may, find yourselves focusing on medical appointments, health concerns, exercise routines, nutrition, medication, mental and physical health, your sleep habits, stress management, therapy, and healing practices. Because this full moon is occurring in Sagittarius. So, Cancer, there's a strong focus on the truth, the improvement, the growth, and the understanding how your daily choices are impacting your overall well being, mentally and physically. Okay. And so, with the sun opposing from your 12th house, there may be a need for you to slow down and acknowledge what has kind of been happening beneath the surface here. The energy may reveal where exhaustion has been accumulated, okay? Where boundaries need strengthening and where some unhealthy habits have um, they have become unsustainable for you right now, okay, Cancer? So I would say this could also show where you've been carrying responsibilities that no longer belong to you. So, Cancer, this is not the energy to ignore your body's signals, okay? Avoid necessary rest, neglect medical concerns, overextend yourself, or continue operating in survival mode, okay? Because with Uranus influencing your 12th house in the background, unexpected insights, vivid dreams, intuitive downloads, spiritual awakenings, hidden information, private realizations, or just the subconscious breakthroughs that may emerge. So, Cancer, some of you may suddenly decide to change jobs, improve your health, start a wellness routine, begin therapy, prioritize rest, establish stronger boundaries, hire assistants, restructure your schedule, leave a draining environment, or just commit to healing work. All right? Now, Cancer, Mars continue moving through your 11th house, which is increasing activity involving friendships, networking, social media, organizations, community involvement, professional groups, collaboration, and long term goals. So, I would say this energy can help you take action toward those future plans, but it can also create some tension within friendships, group dynamics, or social circles if expectations are unclear. All right. So, Cancer, this full moon may act as your current routine supporting your long term goals. Are you taking care of yourself as well as you care for others? Okay. What habits need adjustments? And what is your body trying to tell you right now? All right. And where do you need more balance between work and rest? Cancer, emotionally and spiritually, this full moon can bring some powerful awareness surrounding healing, wellness, self care, boundaries, and the connection that your physical health and your emotional well being are in alignment. Okay, so from a practical standpoint, cancers, this energy may manifest through employment matters, workplace developments, schedules, health concerns, medical appointments, wellness goals, productivity systems, daily responsibilities, and important decisions regarding how you manage your time, your energy, and your resources moving forward. All right? Now, Leo, where are you? Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. I'm making sure I ain't missing nobody. Okay. Hey, Gus, how you doing? All right. So, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. This is activating your fun house, fifth house of romance, dating, creativity, children, self expression, entrepreneurship, hobbies, entertainment, passion projects, recreation, and the things that just bring joy and fulfillment into your life, Leo. Okay. Leo rising. Okay. The sun is in Gemini, and that is illuminating your 11th house. That's the house of friendships, networking, organizations, social media. Okay. Similar to what I spoke of Cancer. So I would say this full moon may bring some important developments, Leo, the realizations, conversations, or decisions involving romantic relationships, dating situations, children, creative pursuits, friendships, social circles, business ventures, personal projects, or your future aspirations. Now, for some of you Leos, this may show up through a new romantic interest, relationship development. Somebody may get a bun in the oven. Pregnancy news. I know that was tacky. I'm sorry. Pregnancy news. Matters involving children or grandchildren. Okay. Creative opportunities, artistic projects, entrepreneurship, launching a business, content creation, social media visibility, performance opportunities, hobbies that become income streams, Leo. Now, others of you Leos may find yourselves reevaluating friendships, group dynamics, community involvement, networking opportunities, or whether your current social circles are still in alignment with where you're headed. Okay? Because Leo, this full moon is in fire. Okay? In Sagittarius, so there's a strong focus on freedom, authenticity, creativity, joy, and self expression. However, with the sun opposing from your 11th house, there may be some tension, okay, between your personal desires and the expectations of a group, organization, friendship, or community. All right, Leo? So this energy may reveal where you've been seeking approval instead of expressing yourself authentically or authentically. Oh, y'all, authentic. Okay, y'all know I will jumble up a word. Okay, if you're not authentic expressing yourself is what I'm saying. Okay, now where you've been also playing small to fit in, Leo. Okay, so this could also be where certain feelings that you have about friendships, social environments, where you're feeling that they no longer support your growth. Okay, Leo. So this is not the energy to suppress your creativity, ignore your passions, hide your talents, or continue investing energy into people just in situations, that no longer bring genuine fulfillment to you. So Leo, Uranus is in Gemini, okay? That's in your 11th house. So that's that background noise. So there may be some unexpected developments involving friendships, social media, networking opportunities, and things of that nature, or future goals that may emerge. Okay. So some Leos may suddenly decide to pursue a romantic connection, end a dating situation, launch a creative project, start a business, expand your social media presence, join a new organization, leave a group or a community. Okay. You might want to reconnect with a passion project, focus on a talent that you've neglected, redefine what success and happiness mean moving forward for you, Leo. Okay. Now, Mars continues moving through your 10th house, Leo. That is increasing activity that is involving your career, business, leadership, authority figures, professional responsibilities, promotions, public recognition, and reputation. So, this energy, Leo, can help you make some progress professionally, but it can also create some pressure if work demands have been overshadowing your personal happiness or your creative fulfillment. Okay? So this full moon is Sagittarius is asking you, Leo, are you allowing yourself to experience joy? Are your friendships supporting your growth? Are your long-term goals still aligned with your passions? What talents are you to being asked to develop? Okay. Where have you been holding yourself back, Leo? Those are the questions that this full moon may be asking you. Now, from an emotional or and a spiritual perspective, this full moon can bring some powerful awareness surrounding confidence, creativity, self-expression, romance, children, and just your personal fulfillment. All right. But from a practical standpoint, Leo, this energy may manifest through dating, creative projects, business ventures, social media growth, fifth house themes, 11th house themes, important decisions that could involve your future goals and your aspirations. All right? So there we go, Leo, for you. Virgo, sun, moon, rising. I knew I was going to pop out late tonight. Virgo, sun, moon, rising. Where you at? This is for you, boo. Showing up in your fifth house of home, family, parents, living situations, property, real estate, ancestry, roots, emotional foundations, and your private life. Okay? Virgos. The sun is in Gemini, and that's illuminating your 10th house of career, business, reputation, public image, leadership, authority, professional responsibilities, and long term achievements. Okay? So, Virgos, I would say this full moon may bring some important, developments, realizations, conversations, or decisions involving your home life, family dynamics, living situations, career path, professional goals, public responsibilities, or just the balance between your personal life and your public life. Okay. Now, for some of you Virgos, this may show up through moving or relocating, home repairs, renovations, purchasing property, selling property, lease agreements, family discussions, okay? Matters that are involving your parents, caring for an aging family member, household changes, genealogy or ancestry research, or inheritance discussions. Not limited to that, but just expanding my theme on the house. Okay. Now, others of you, Virgos, may find yourselves focused on career changes. Um, let me make sure. Okay. Career changes, promotions, leadership opportunities, business expectations. Um, I would say expansion of business, okay? Public recognition, professional visibility, workplace responsibilities, launching a business, changing industries, redefining long-term goals. Okay, y'all know I'm in my I'm in my menopausal state, y'all. Okay, so bear with me. Okay. Whew. No, hold on. Give me a second. I got two fans. Ooh, this heat, baby. I need something to keep me. Woo. Okay, there we go. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so Virgo, 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 Virgo. Okay, this full moon is occurring because of this full moon occurring in Sagittarius for you. There is a strong focus on truth, growth, freedom, and kind of understanding what truly provides security and stability for you, Virgo. Okay, now with the sun being in your 10th house, well, no, the sun is opposing from your 10th house, right? So there may be some tension between work and home, public responsibilities and private needs, or career ambitions and family obligations. So, Virgo, this energy may reveal where your foundation needs strengthening, okay? Where you've been kind of giving too much energy to one area while neglecting another area, okay? And I would also say, this could also play out where important decisions regarding your home, family, career, or long term stability just can no longer be postponed. All right. So I would say this isn't the energy to ignore family matters right now, Virgo. This isn't a time for you to avoid necessary conversations at the crib. All right. Neglect your emotional well being or continue building professional success while your personal foundation requires attention. All right, you got to balance that public life and that private life for you. Now, Uranus is influencing your 10th house in the background, so there could be some unexpected developments involving your career, business, leadership, authority figures, management changes, professional opportunities, or your public visibility. Maybe your reputation may emerge too. All right. Virgos, you may suddenly decide to relocate, purchase some property, sell some property, renovate some property, move in with family, change careers, pursue a promotion, or launch a business. You could either step into a leadership role with this energy, Virgo. Actually, I do know a Virgo rising that has just stepped into a leadership role or redefine your professional goals. So, Mars now, let's keep in touch. Mars is continuing to move through your ninth house, Virgo, which is increasing, I would say, activity that is involving travel, education, certification, legal matters, publishing, teaching, spirituality, and cultural experiences, international connections, and expanding your perspective. Okay. So, this energy can help you pursue growth and opportunity, but it also may create some impatience if travel plans, educational goals, or legal matters experience delays. Virgos don't like that. So, this full moon is asking you, Virgo, is your home life supporting your future goals? Are your career ambitions aligned with your personal values? What foundation are you building for the future? What needs attention within your family or your living situation? Or what does true security looks like moving forward for you, Virgo? From an emotional and spiritual perspective, this full moon can bring some powerful awareness surrounding family, belonging, emotional security, ancestral healing, home, and the connection between your private life and your public life. Okay. Now, on a practical level, Virgo, this energy may manifest through property matters, relocation, real estate transactions, family responsibilities, career opportunities, promotions, household decisions, and important choices regarding the future that you're building. Okay. So, Virgos, that is that for you. Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, where you at, because this is activating full moon in Sag is activating your third house of communication, conversations, transportation, vehicles, paperwork, contracts, learning, certification. Did I say that? Technology, siblings, neighbors, local travel and everyday interactions, okay? While the sun in Gemini is illuminating your ninth house of higher education, travel, spirituality, legal matters, publishing, teaching, cultural awareness, and certifications, as well as long term vision. So, Libras, this full moon may bring some important development, realizations, conversations, or decisions involving communication, transportation, travel plans, educational pursuits, certifications, legal matters, paperwork, contracts, technology, or the direction that you're trying to move toward mentally, physically, or spiritually. All right. Now, for some of you Libras, this may show up through vehicle purchases, vehicle repairs, registrations, okay, driver's license stuff, paperwork, contracts, application, travel planning, educational opportunities, teaching opportunities, certifications, speaking engagements, upgrading your technology, third house stuff, okay, website, launching your website. So others may, Libra, others of you may find yourself focused on important conversations, sibling relationships, neighbor situations, community involvement, social media communication, writing projects, marketing efforts, learning a new skill, spiritual studies, cultural experiences, and just expanding your perspective. Okay, because Libra, this full moon is occurring in Sagittarius, so there's a strong focus on truth, understanding, wisdom, and just seeing the big picture. Okay, so with the sun opposing from your ninth house to where the moon is in your third house, there may be some tension between the details that you need to handle right now and the larger vision that you're trying to create for the future. Okay. So the Libras, this energy may reveal where information is missing right now, where communication needs a little improving, where additional learning is required, or where a conversation that you've been avoiding can no longer be postponed. Okay. So this is not the energy, Libra, to rush through your paperwork, overlook details, skip research, ignore important information, or assume everyone understands what you're trying to communicate. Okay, Libra? Uranus is in the background in your ninth house. All right. So there could be some unexpected travel opportunities, some educational pursuits, some legal developments, some spiritual awakenings, some cultural experiences, publishing opportunities, or just major perspective shifts that may emerge. Some Libras may suddenly decide to travel, relocate, pursue a certification, enroll in a course, purchase a vehicle, repair a vehicle, okay? Um, Ninth house, stop. Third house, ninth house. Mars now is continuing to move through your eighth house, which is increasing activity involving shared resources, taxes, loans, credit, investments, inheritances, insurance matters, and intimacy, trust, and emotional transformation. Okay, Libra? So the energy can help you address these financial obligations and deeper personal growth. But it can also create some tension if financial or emotional issues have been neglected. Okay? So, Libras, this full moon may ask, are you paying attention to the details while pursuing the bigger picture? Okay? What information do you still need? Is your communication clear and effective? What truth are you now ready to understand more deeply? And Libra, are your beliefs aligned with your actions? Now, from an emotional and a spiritual perspective, this full moon in Sagittarius Libra can bring some powerful awareness surrounding perspective, communication, learning, truth, wisdom, and the direction that your life is moving. Okay. But from a practical standpoint, Libra, this energy definitely, I would say, may manifest through some transportation matters, vehicles, travel plans, certifications, contracts, things of that nature in the ninth house, right? Maybe it's some important conversations that influence your next steps. All right, Libra? Next, let's step up with Scorpio. Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising. This is activating in your full moon, and Sagittarius is hitting that second house of income, finances, possessions, how you make money, your self worth, personal resources, spending habits, talents, long term security, okay? And Scorpio, while the sun is in Gemini, that's illuminating your eighth house of shared resources, debts, taxes, loans, credit, investments, inheritances, insurance matters, intimacy, trust, and transformation. Those are not the only themes, okay? So, Scorpio, this full moon may bring some important development, realizations, conversations, or some decisions involving money, okay? Personal finances, shared finances, income, debt, taxes, investments, financial agreements, or situations where your resources are connected to someone else's resources. All right. So, Scorpio, for some of you, this may show up through raises, okay? The bonuses, new income opportunities, budgeting, debt repayment, credit issues, tax matters, refinancing, loans, mortgages, money, financial stuff, investment stuff, okay? Now, Scorpios, others may find yourselves focused on self worth, personal value, being independent financially, trust issues, emotional attachment, financial independence, intimacy, power dynamics, okay? Recognizing where you probably have been given way too much energy, money, or control. So, Scorpio, this full moon is occurring in Sagittarius, right? So, there's a strong focus on truth, growth, abundance, and understanding what truly provides value and security for you, Scorpio. Okay. Now, with the sun opposing from your eighth house, there may be some tension between your personal resources and shared obligations, your independence and your commitment, or what you want financially versus what circumstances require. Scorpio, okay. So I would say this energy may reveal where financial adjustments need to be made, Scorpio, where transparency is needed, where a financial agreement requires review, or where your relationship with money is evolving, okay? So, Scorpio, this isn't the energy to avoid financial conversations. This isn't the energy to ignore debt, overspend impulsively, take any unnecessary financial risks, okay, or overlook important details involving money. This is not that time to do so, okay? We got Uranus in the background, that's in your eighth house. So there could be some unexpected expenses, some financial opportunities, some tax situations, some investment changes, insurance matters, inheritance issues, or some sudden revelations regarding trust and shared resources that could emerge, okay? Now, some of you Scorpios may suddenly decide to pay debt off, okay, which I like. Consolidate your debt, review investments, renegotiate financial agreements, refinance, create a new budget, okay? You might want to pursue some additional income as well, Scorpios, or restructure your business finances. You might want to separate finances, combine resources, or just overall rethink what financial security means moving forward. Okay. Now we got Mars moving through your seventh house, which is increasing activity involving relationships, contracts, clients, negotiations, legal matters, and important one-on-one interactions. So this energy can help move some relationships and some partnerships forward. Okay, Scorpios, but it can also create some tension if expectations, boundaries, or communication haven't been handled clearly. Okay. Now, this full moon Scorpio is asking, are your financial choices aligned with your future goals? Are your financial arrangements fair and sustainable? Are you recognizing your true value? Where do you need stronger boundaries? Okay. And what does real security means to you right now? and a spiritual perspective, this full moon can bring some powerful awareness surrounding self worth, abundance, trust, financial empowerment, some personal value, and transformation. Okay. So, Scorpio, from a practical standpoint, this energy may manifest through income changes, budgeting, taxes, loans, credit issues, insurance issues, investment decisions, financial negotiations, and just important decisions that are regarding your resources and the long term stability. All right. So let's get to the next zodiac, which is Sagittarius. This your moon, baby, okay? And this is activating your first house of self, identity, independence, your appearance, your vibe, your personal goals, your physical body, your self-expression, your confidence, okay? And the direction that you are choosing for yourself. All right. So, Sagittarius, I will say this: the sun is in Gemini, that is over in your seventh house of relationships. It's illuminating that area, okay? Partnerships, um, marriage, contracts, agreements, clients, negotiation, business partnerships, and significant one-on-one connections, right? So Sagittarius, this full moon may bring some important developments, realizations, conversations, or decisions involving your personal identity, your life direction, your relationships, commitments, boundaries, contracts, or just the balance between your needs and the needs of others, okay? Now, Sagittarius, for some of you, this may show up through relationship turning points, engagements, separations, reconciliations, contract negotiations, client matters, legal agreements, rebranding yourself, changing your appearance, health and wellness goals, personal reinvention, and just stepping into a leadership role. Okay. Now, others of you, Scorpios, Sagittarius, you may find yourselves focused on personal freedom, independence, your confidence, your self worth, your boundaries, your authenticity. Okay. Your personal growth, identity shifts, releasing old versions of yourself. All right, or maybe becoming clearer about what you truly want moving forward. Now, because this full moon is occurring in your sign, okay, the spotlight is directly on you, Sagittarius. So I would say this is often a period of culmination, clarity, and heightened awareness for you. So you may feel more visible right now, more emotional, more reflective, okay, or more determined to make changes that have been just building for quite some time, okay. However, the sun opposing from your seventh house tells me that relationships may become the mirror through which many of these realizations occur. Okay, so Sagittarius, the energy may reveal where your needs and the needs of others are no longer in alignment. Okay, where compromise is required, where boundaries need strengthening, or where honesty can no longer be avoided. All right, so Sagittarius, this is not the energy to lose yourself in relationships. Ignore your own needs, avoid difficult conversations, or continue pretending to be someone that you've outgrown. All right, Sag? Now, with Uranus influencing your seventh house in the background, you could have some unexpected developments involving relationships, partnerships, clients, contracts, negotiations, one-on-one interactions, legal matters. They may emerge. All right. Some Sagittarius may suddenly decide to commit to a relationship, leave a relationship, redefine a partnership, sign a contract, end an agreement, okay? Change your appearance, pursue a healthy goal. You might establish some stronger boundaries or just completely change the uh, direction that you're heading. Okay. Now Mars here continues moving through your sixth house, which is increasing activity involving your work, your employment, co-workers, employees, schedules, responsibilities, health matters, wellness goals, productivity, and daily routines. So I would say for you, Sagittarius, this energy can help you become more productive and disciplined. Okay. But it can also create some stress if you are taking on too much or neglecting self care. Okay. Because Sagittarius, your full moon, okay, is asking you, are you being true to you? That's the first and foremost thing. Are you being true to you? Are your relationships supporting your growth? What version of yourself are you ready to release? And are you honoring your own needs? Okay. Also, does your current path reflect who you are becoming? Good questions, Sagittarius. Now, from an emotional and a spiritual standpoint, this full moon Sagittarius can bring powerful awareness surrounding identity, authenticity, personal freedom, self discovery, confidence, and relationships. Okay. In addition to that, I would say from a practical standpoint, this energy may manifest through relationship decisions, contracts, legal matters, health goals, all right, lifestyle changes, or important choices just regarding, the direction of your life moving forward. Okay? So that is for you, Sagittarius. Now, Capricorns, Cappies, Sun, Moon, Rising. This full moon is activating your 12th house of spirituality, healing, rest, solitude, subconscious patterns, hidden matters, endings, institutions, dreams, retreat, behind the scenes activity. Okay. Now, the sun is in Gemini, and that's illuminating your sixth house of work, employment, co workers, daily routines, responsibilities, health, wellness, scheduling, service, and productivity, right? So, Capricorns, this full moon may bring some important developments, realizations, conversations, or decisions involving your mental health, your emotional well being, your spiritual growth, hidden situations, work life balance, daily responsibilities, health routines, okay? Or the need to slow down, Capricorn, and listen to what has been happening beneath the surface, okay? So for some of you Capricorns, this may show up through vivid dreams, 12th house now, spiritual awakenings, therapy or counseling, private realizations, healing work, meditation, uncovering hidden information, okay? Or I would say, in addition to that, um, stepping away from draining situations, needing more rest, recovering from burnout energy, okay? Caregiving situations, hospital visits, recovery programs, rehab programs. We talking 12th house, 6th house axis here, okay? So Capricorns, others of you may find yourself focused on emotional healing, releasing old habits, forgiveness, closure, prayer, spiritual practice, okay? Solitude, energy management, recognizing where, you've been operating on just autopilot, Capricorn, okay? So, because this full moon is occurring in Sagittarius, there's a strong focus on truth, awareness, healing, and spiritual growth for you, Capricorn, okay? So with the sun opposing from your sixth house to your 12th, there may be tension between what your responsibilities require, what your mind, body, and soul or spirit, okay, needs in order to remain healthy and balanced. Capricorn, this energy really may reveal where you've been overworking, where exhaustion has accumulated, where your schedule has become unsustainable, okay? Or where some unresolved emotions have quietly been influencing your daily life. So, Capricorn, this is not the energy to ignore your health, suppress your emotions, avoid healing work, neglect your spiritual well being, or continue pushing yourself beyond your limits. All right. Now, I know you're the hardest working zodiac out of all zodiacs, but don't do it. Okay. Now we have Uranus in the background in your sixth house. So there could be some unexpected developments involving work, employment, co-workers, health routines, productivity systems, daily responsibilities, technology. Those things may emerge during this time. Okay. So I would say Capricorn, Mars continues moving through your fifth house. Okay. Yeah, I gotta be careful with that fifth house action. If you want kids, okay. If you don't, be careful, okay? But there could be some increase in activity involving romance, dating, children, creativity, whether that's project or passion, okay? Entrepreneurship, hobbies, entertainment, and personal passions. So Capricorns, this energy can help reignite some creative because I can't even say it. This um, full moon can activate some creativity and some momentum. Okay, I would say that. All right. Mm-hmm. Motivation. Mm-hmm. But it can also create some tension if you've been neglecting joy, fun, or personal fulfillment. Okay. So Capricorns, this full moon may ask you, what are you carrying that needs to be released? Are you honoring your need for rest and healing? Is your daily routine supporting your well being? What truth are you finally ready to acknowledge? Okay. Or what are you being called to create more balance in? All right. Now, from an emotional and a spiritual perspective, this full moon Capricorn can bring some powerful awareness surrounding healing, closure, intuition, emotional release, spiritual growth, and subconscious patterns. Okay. Now, from a practical standpoint, Capricorns, this energy may manifest through health matters, work changes, schedule adjustments, therapy, recovery, caregiving responsibilities, spiritual practices, private realizations, important decisions regarding how you manage your energy moving forward. All right? So, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising. This full moon is activating your 11th house of friendships, networking, organizations, social circles, community involvement, social media, professional associations, collaborations, humanitarian efforts, and long term goals. Okay. And with the sun in Gemini, illuminating your fifth house of romance, dating, children, creativity, entrepreneurship, hobbies, and entertainment, as well as self expression and personal passions. Aquariuses, this full moon may bring some important development, realizations, conversations, or decisions involving friendships, group dynamics, networking opportunities, romantic situations, children, or the future that you're, actively trying to build. Okay. Now, for some of you Aquariuses, this may show up through friendship changes, joining a new organization, leaving a group, network opportunities, growing via social media, community involvement, collaborations, professional associations, humanitarian work, team environments, or you could be reconnecting with old friends. Okay. Now, others of you, Aquariuses, you may find yourselves focused on romantic relationships, dating, creativity, artistic expression, hobbies, personal fulfillment, that fifth house stuff, right? So I would say for you Aquarius, this full moon, with it being in Sagittarius, there's a strong focus here for you on growth, freedom, expansion, and future possibilities. Okay, Aquarius, with the sun opposing from your fifth house, there may be some tension between your personal desires and the expectations of a group, friendship, organization, or community. Okay. So, Aquarius, this energy may reveal where you've outgrown certain social circles, where your goals have changed, where your heart is pulling you in a different direction now, or where the people around you just no longer align with the vision that you're creating for your future. All right, Aquarius. So I would say this isn't the energy to remain connected out of obligation, to suppress your individuality, ignore your creativity, or continue pursuing goals that no longer resonate with who you are becoming. Okay. Now, your ruling planet Uranus is influencing your fifth house in the background. There could be some unexpected romantic developments, some creative breakthroughs, some entrepreneurial opportunities, some surprises involving children, or some sudden inspiration that may emerge. Okay. Now, some of you Aquariuses may suddenly decide to pursue a romantic connection, leave a dating situation, launch a creative project, start a business, become more active on social media, expand your network, distance yourself from certain friendships as well. Focus on your projects, your passion projects, or just redefine your entire future goals. Okay. So I would say Aquarius, Aquarius, Aquarius. Mars continues moving through your fourth house, which is increasing activity involving home, family, parents, property, living situations, emotional foundations, relocations, repairs, or real estate matters. Okay. This energy can help you take action within your personal life, Aquarius. But it can also create some tension in family matters or household responsibilities require immediate action. All right. So I would say for you, Aquarius, this full moon could ask, do your friendships support your future vision? Are your goals still aligning with your heart? Have you outgrown certain environments? What creative gifts are you asking? Or I would say, what creative gifts are asking to be expressed? What kind of future are you actively building? You know what I'm saying? So I would say, Aquarius, from an emotional and spiritual perspective, this full moon can bring in some powerful awareness surrounding friendship, belonging, community, creativity, self expression, and future aspirations. Okay. Now, from a practical standpoint, Aquarius, this energy may manifest through opportunities via network, social media activity, organizational involvement. Collaborations, romantic developments, matters involving children, okay? Or it could be important decisions regarding the people and the goals that are shaping your future, okay? Now, last sign is Pisces. Pisces, sun, moon, rising. This full moon in Sagittarius is activating your 10th house of career, business, reputation, public image, your life direction, okay? Um, Leadership, authority, achievements, professional responsibilities, long term success. But the sun is in Gemini, okay? And that is illuminating your fourth house of home, family, parents, property, living situations, emotional foundation, ancestry, and private life. So, Pisces, this full moon may bring some important developments, realizations, conversations, or decisions involving your career, business, reputation, family responsibilities, your home life, your living situation, or the balance between your public life and your private life. Okay. Now, for some of you Pisces, this may show up through promotions, career changes, interviews, launching a business, professional achievements, increased responsibilities. Okay, or you may be stepping into a more visible role and receiving recognition for your work. Okay. Now, others of you, Pisces, may find yourself focused on fourth house things, home repairs, relocation, moving, real estate matters, lease agreements, family responsibilities, caring for a parent, household changes. All right, or creating greater emotional security. So, Pisces, this full moon is occurring in Sagittarius, so there's a strong focus for you on growth, expansion, truth, and long term vision. And with the sun opposing from your fourth house, there may be some tension between your professional ambition, okay, uh, and your personal responsibilities. Now, 10th house can also be the masculine parent. The fourth house can be the feminine parent as well. Okay. We got to include that in there earlier. So I would say this energy here can reveal, Pisces, where work has been demanding too much attention, where family matters require greater focus, where your definition of success is evolving, or where your personal foundation needs strengthening before the next chapter can be rebuilt or built. Okay. So, Pisces, this is not the energy to neglect family concerns, ignore your emotional needs, avoid leadership responsibilities, or continue sacrificing your personal life for professional achievement. All right. We have Uranus influencing your fourth house in the background. So there could be some unexpected developments involving your home, your family, your parents, your property, your living arrangements, your relocations, or emotional security, that may emerge, right? Some Pisces may suddenly decide to pursue a promotion, launch a business, change careers, accept a leadership role, relocate, purchase property, make some important family decisions, right? Meanwhile, Mars continues moving through your third house, which is increasing activity involving community, paperwork, contracts, transportation, technology, vehicles, learning, teaching, siblings, neighbors, important conversations, all right? So, Pisces, this energy can help move plans forward, but it can also create some tension if information is overlooked. So, communication becomes reactive or your decisions are rushed. All right? So, you want to be mindful that you don't fall into that category because Pisces, this full moon may ask you, is your career aligned with the life that you're trying to build? Are your professional goals supporting your emotional well being? What adjustments are needed between work and home? What does success truly mean to you, Pisces? Because the other question I would say this moon is asking is, what legacy are you creating moving forward? Okay. Now, from an emotional and a spiritual perspective, this full moon, Pisces, can bring some powerful awareness surrounding your purpose, achievement, leadership, family responsibilities, emotional security, and long term direction. Okay. But from a practical standpoint, this energy may manifest through career opportunities, public recognition, promotions, relocations, property matters, family decisions, home related responsibilities, okay? But important choices that are regarding um, the direction, the future, that you're building, right? Okay, so I want to just say, I'm done with the signs. So as we bring this Sagittarius Blue Moon journey to a close, I want to take a moment to step back and kind of look at the big picture, okay? This full moon did not come alone, all right? It's part of a story that began with the Taurus new moon, a story about what we value, what we're building, what we're investing our time, energy, and attention into, okay? And now, as we sit under this full moon in Sagittarius, we're being asked to examine whether those choices align with our truth, our growth, and our future direction. Okay? So, throughout this presentation here, we've explored several important themes. Okay? I'm not going to highlight them all, but I want to tell you that Gemini Sagittarius axis is reminding us that knowledge and wisdom are not the same thing. Okay? Eight of Wands is reminding us that awareness can create movement. The fixed star Antares is reminding us to be courageous enough to face the truth. The number one numerology of the day of the full moon tomorrow is vibration number one, and that is encouraging initiative, leadership, and conscious action. All right? The Sabian symbol is reminding us that opportunity often arrives disguised as an experience, a realization, or a lesson. All right? And perhaps that is one of the greatest messages of this full moon because not every opportunity is going to arrive wrapped in excitement. Okay? Not every blessing is going to arrive looking like a blessing. Not every conversation is going to start off like an opportunity. Okay? Sometimes the opportunity is the conversation. Sometimes the opportunity is the realization. Okay? Sometimes the opportunity is just finally seeing something clearly enough to make a damn good choice that's different. So this full moon is asking to remain authentic and not to become someone completely different. It's asking you to become more honest about who you already are, okay? More honest about where you are headed, more honest about what you've learned, okay? More honest about what no longer fits, because as truth surface, the perspectives shift and opportunities are going to reveal themselves, okay? So remember that awareness is only the beginning. What we choose to do with that awareness is where that transformation begins, okay? So the invitation of this full moon in Sagittarius is really simple. Remain curious, remain teachable, remain open, and allow the wisdom that you've gained through experience to guide your next steps forward, okay? So, every lesson is asked to be lived, okay, eventually. Just keep that in mind, okay? But I want us to take a deep breath. I want to close it out with an affirmation. I want to allow ourselves to become present with everything that has surfaced through this full moon presentation journey, okay? The lessons, the realizations, the opportunities, the truth, the wisdom, all of that, okay? And if you want, please repeat after me. I release what no longer aligns with my truth. I trust the wisdom that I have gained through experience. I remain open to growth, clarity, and new possibilities. I honor both what I have learned and what I am still learning. All right. I trust myself to recognize opportunities that align with my highest good. I allow truth to guide my decisions and wisdom to shape my direction. I release fear, hesitation, and outdated beliefs that no longer support my growth. I move forward with courage, awareness, and intention. I trust that every lesson has prepared me for the next chapter of my journey because what is meant for me aligns with truth, wisdom, opportunity, and divine timing. Okay? As above, so below, as within, so without. So mote it be, so it is so. Ashe, ashe, and ashe. I appreciate you all being here with me. Thank you for spending the time as we explore the energy surrounding this blue moon, okay? If this message resonated with you, definitely don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. It is a long one, so come back if you couldn't catch it all and let me know you back replaying. I'd appreciate that. But I definitely want to let you know, if you are interested in a personal astrology consultation, a natal chart analysis, transit reading, or spiritual guidance session, visit my website at maliksmysticalmagic.com. All K's. Okay? Remember, collective astrology shows us the weather. Your natal chart reveals how that weather is unfolding specifically in your life. Okay? Until next time, you all continue moving with intention, wisdom, and truth. Be blessed, stay aligned, and have a beautiful Sagittarius full moon. Deuces. Love and light, y'all. Let me figure out how to get out of here. Okay. See y'all. Appreciate y'all coming.